Party people. What's going on? It's Samaj Marsh, founder of BlueDeathValley.com, and I want to welcome you guys back to obviously a somber edition of Blue Death After Dark. Disaster in Durham the day after. Man. So I'm here, of course, my two co-hosts. First up, former A&T wide receiver and Greensboro native, Mr. Doug Brown. What's going on, Douglas? How you coping, bro? Doug, you can't comment.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Pride.
What's up, man? Yeah.
And Doug, I mean, you multi-generational Aggie. You know, I mean, your whole household's pretty much everybody in your family is pretty much just giving all their service to the university. I know that one had to hit especially hard. I know rap is taking it hard. You know, I feel for rap probably more than anybody in Aggie Nation, man. Let me also introduce, of course, the man in the middle, longtime insider, BlueDeathValley.com, current president of the Greensboro chapter AAF, and those brave warriors brought a bus down to Durham for that debacle, that fiasco, and it was a long bus ride home. My right-hand man, Craig Turner. What's going on, CT? How you doing?
I've been better.
Yeah,
I'll put it like that.
Yeah,
I'm doing okay. It was a bus ride. That was a bus that was very quiet. Going back to Greensboro last night. So it is what it is.
So this is will be Blue Death After Dark. This is not Inside the Valley, so we kind of don't have our normal show format tonight. This is kind of a stream of consciousness, kind of a debrief, if you will. We're going to kind of open the show up to you guys, the fan base. We ain't gonna stay here too long tonight, but we'll stay here long enough. If you guys want to talk, if you guys want to get off some stuff off your chest, you want to vent. You know, yesterday, I'll be honest, gentlemen, I got maybe 2.5 hours worth of sleep, man, because I was just in my mind. I was just going through. I try to, I'll give y'all some inside baseball. You know, with this platform that we have for over, 2 decades, especially thanks to the man in the middle, Craig, who's been there from day one, and then Doug. He's kind of been more present in the last couple of years of the show, but Doug's always been kind of an advocate for the website, in the streets and with his former players. So this site is definitely a team effort, and of course, you guys, the fan forum, the community, we've actually reached our 20th anniversary this year. We're gonna do this little celebration in a couple of weeks, but over the years we built certain credibility. People, it's not just a bunch of old people, venting. They take us seriously because they know that we are strategic with what we do, and we're thoughtful and we're fair. So yesterday during the game, a lot of people coming up to me, a lot of people coming up to me, and they were telling me things and making sure that I was aware of stuff, and they wanted me to use, I guess, my bully pulpit in a sense to bring things to the table, to the forefront, to bring things to light, and that's a great, I guess, responsibility, but I don't take lightly, and I don't ever want to use this platform just to settle a personal score. Like if I got a Vandell against the travel secretary in Dowdy, I'm not going to use this forum just to shoot a shot at somebody. We really got to be strategic and fair with what we do. And tonight of all nights, I really want people, when you come on the show, anybody who wants on the show, we're gonna give you the link. The link is in the chat. The link is on Twitter, and also the link is on the fan forum. But everybody on the show, we're gonna give you a chance to speak. And like I said, I had to really go through my thoughts because I didn't want to get on Twitter or the fan forum and just say something that I regret. Because really, at this point, we're gonna have some serious conversations at the course of this night, I can tell you, and probably gonna go some places that we haven't been before. But we're still talking about human beings, people who have jobs, who have families, who you probably see physically in the streets and at the at school. So, I take all of that into consideration. Hell, I'm going to be at the press conference at noon tomorrow. And I'm gonna say some things right now that's going to make that situation very uncomfortable for me tomorrow, because I'm be sitting about 5 feet in front of Coach Brown. But it is what it is. And the reason why you guys are tuning in right now is because you know that we're going to say what we feel. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to hold back. Let me start with Doug on the end, because me and Doug were kind of sitting next to each other on the sideline yesterday. Just give me kind of just run through your gamut of emotions, Doug, and where you are right now.
Oh, well. Well, first off, let me say, kudos to the Aggies that made it down. Support the team. Glad the band was in attendance. They look great, sound great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions early on. I was a little bit late to the game, got held up in traffic coming from another event. And, I turned on my phone and I'm watching Aaron Harris, score the opening touchdown on a kick return. And, that feeling of, all right, here we go, let's do our thing. Really took over. And then shortly after, they were able to drive the ball, score, kind of even things out. I think we answered not too long after that with a field goal. So I had to feel it was going to be a back and forth game early on. Then when I got to the sideline and was kind of able to see who was active, who was inactive, and some of the holes and some of the issues we were having, I knew that it could possibly be a long night. And it turned out to be a long night.
Good Lord, the all-nighter.
Oh, man, there was still some disbelief, just kind of how some things unfolded. But that's what can happen when you have a young, inexperienced team. And you've got to replace some guys through injury. Of course, when Kevin White went down, it gave Fabi an opportunity, but we were definitely weakened and kind of shell-shocked with Kevin's injury. And I think it had an effect on us. But, there's no excuses, man. They took it to us top to bottom. It was tough to watch, tough to see. As an Aggie fan, as a diehard, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. And so, I'm sure that, again, we'll hear a lot of comments, and there will be a lot of talk about what did or didn't go right for us, what should happen moving forward. But it was a tough one, man. It was a tough one. Remember, as I say, sometimes you get the bear, right? Sometimes you're able to get the bear. Sometimes the bear gets you, man.
The bear got us.
Yeah.
Hey, the bear got us like Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie, The Revenant. The bear worked us over. Good Lord. Hey, so Craig, jump in, because you made the investment and you organized the whole bus, literally a bus full of Aggies. You guys made the trip down I-85 and came en masse to that game. And like I said, you had to endure that and then come all the way back home. Whew. Just give me, I guess, your thoughts on the experience.
It was like it was like learning the death of a family, an unexpected death of a family member, really a close family member. It hit core.
Yeah.
There was almost it was really a shock sitting there watching that last night. It was though we had never seen or played a football game in our entire history, and listen, if you saw this game on TV and you say, what the hell was going on? What the hell is happening? Multiply that by about 10,000. That's what it was like sitting in those stands last night, watching that in person.
And then sitting next to somebody in what was that, maroon and that dirty maroon and gray, and I had my shirt on Wednesday night, the 99-0. I guess I can I can donate that to Goodwill, pretty much Salvation Army, because now that's obsolete.
Archives, man.
Yeah, because now I'm pretty sure they're gonna have the screens print and press over at in Durham working overtime. They're gonna have some 66-24 shirts. somebody put out a little headline I saw. They called it route.
All right.
They called it Route 66. Route 66. I said, good Lord, y'all.
Yeah, I saw that.
I had to tip my cap to that. Yeah. But just it was humbling, it was humbling. And 94, I'm gonna bring you in there. 94, if you got any TVs on, turn it off in the background. We got Aggie Lifer. I want to see whoever Aggie Lifer is. Turn your computer on so I can bring you in the show. Hey, listen, this is a show that we can have probably Troy, not Troy probably on. Yeah, I don't know what Troy's doing. He's probably underneath the bed crying. He probably took it hard too. But I'm sure 94 and other guys, our usual guys, gonna be here. But I want some new people. I want some new blood. Trust me, we ain't gonna bite. We definitely want to talk to anybody who wants to get some off their chest. I see EB, one of my favorites from Twitter. EB, if you get a chance, hit that link. I want to talk to you, family. I know you got some stuff to say. Brandon Cyrus, I want to talk to you. Amos, I see you on Twitter. I want you to jump in here real quick, man. But this is gonna be like a little almost a therapy session for all us Aggies, right? But what I was saying is it's just that humbling that Doug that it was so humbling because we've always been the bear, and then they were the bear for the first time since I can remember. And
yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we took a loss that of that magnitude. I mean, we've had some points scored on us before, but one that meant so much to you, we're pride. We have a lot of pride as Aggies, and so we don't like to lose at all. But to lose in that manner, hurt a lot. And I think, like you said, a lot of us took that one to heart. Like you said, tough for you to get some sleep last night. I slept well. I'll say that last night. I think I was just so beat. I was the opposite. I was so worn out, so beat. Man, I felt like I played in the game. So it's tough to see your guys and the team you care about have to lose like that. And my thought process goes through those kids and losing isn't fun by any means, and it hurts, and kids handle it different ways now, but they have to stand up, and like you said, they're human beings too, so they have to live with that and kind of deal with the repercussions of their performance. But it comes with the territory that you sign up to play a tough game with tough consequences. And trust me, last night was a tough one that I don't know that we'll get over anytime soon. But part of the game, man.
All right, so look, 94, you hold on real quick. I want to bring our first guest tonight. He's a newcomer, Mr. Brandon Cyrus. You ready, Brandon? You good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Brandon, to go.
My man. Good to see you. Hey, first of all, thank you for clicking the link, joining the show. I think I've seen your name in the chat before, but it's good to finally see your face, man.
Yeah, you see me. I'm a lot of the chat, on Twitter. We go back and forth from mic check.
Mic check. Yeah, my man. Okay, it's good to see you. All right. So look, were you get a chance to get down to Durham yesterday?
No. It was my wife's birthday weekend, so I stayed up in the DC area.
Good deal.
So I was able to watch the game.
Yeah.
On ESPN Plus, and I was like, y'all, I caught the game a little late.
Yeah.
Saw the replay of the kickoff. I was like, okay, this team gets it. The coach got it, because the week leading up, he kept trying to, in my opinion, play down the game. And I thought he was playing down the game in public, but in the locker room.
Right, he was gonna flip the switch. He was gonna flip the switch. Yeah, I thought so. I thought he was playing coy. He didn't want to give any ample bulletin board material.
Exactly. I was coming from that standpoint.
But you know what? Brandon? What scared me, and Craig saw it too. At the game, Central came out after doing a little calisthenics. They came out the midfield, and they were like inviting us over to step on the line. Let's have this little the macho mano a mano, and we declined. Like we act like we didn't see him. So they had midfield chirping, and we didn't have that little Aggie pride to come out there. I mean, I ain't asking for a riot, but at least. But
I can see that, and then I can see you, not focusing on it.
Yeah,
and then the one thing that I think we've been saying all season long is we look small on the O-line, and the front seven kept getting pushed back. And by that first quarter, I said, this is going to be a long game, and this is going to be a long season. And for me, what frustrated me as a fan is I saw more emotion from Earl Hilton on the sideline than I did from the coach. And one thing I know playing sports is you take the demeanor of your coach.
Right.
And I think the team is taking that demeanor, and I'm like, this game is not the game we need that laid back nonchalantness. We need that fire coming out. So
now look, and Brent and Doug, I want you give me your input because you understand the emotions of playing football more than anybody probably on this panel right now. But Brandon, I don't want false bravado either. I don't want, if Coach Brown does not have that, that in him, I don't want him to try to manufacture it just for one game because it's gonna come false and it's gonna be the opposite effect. However, you need to have people on your staff who can be that bully.
Yeah.
Right. If you naturally good cop, you need to have bad cop. And and Doug, who you guys had George Small, who is probably the nicest teddy bear there is, right? But who was the bad cop for your team?
I mean, you had Coach Lee. And that's why he ended up getting those opportunities to be head coaches at different stops along the way after that. But he was a guy that could get you riled up. He did the pregame speech and poem, and he was consistent with that. And so it didn't take much. We were kind of conditioned with that poem to once that poem got to being read, it was time to go. So certain coaches have little tactics. A lot of times in this age group, guys get riled up by the strength coach. He's kind of a guy that can get you riled up. Coach Walthall was a guy you'll hear guys too, as a guy who could press those buttons when he was around here. So it varies from staff to staff. Like you said, as long as there's a guy on the team or in the staff that can do that for you. And even in Coach Brown's defense, like, he didn't have to be that guy every game, but this is the game. If he can draw it up, we talked about becoming the Undertaker. That's, sometimes if you cross that line as a coach and show the kids realize, hey man, he did something that was a little different. Coach must be really riled up for this one. Yeah. Sometimes it works for you that way, but I wasn't in the locker room. I didn't hear the pregame speech. I have heard Coach Brown kind of get loud with the team. So we started out fast. We actually he did something right to get us started. Just couldn't sustain it, man. And football's played over 4 quarters, and we did not do enough over the duration of 4 quarters to be competitive.
Yeah. And one thing that we did talk about on Twitter amongst the Aggie group that we have is that Coach Brown may not understand seriousness of rivalries because he went to Mississippi Valley State. Jackson don't consider them a rival. Alcorn don't consider them a rival. Then he coached at Howard. Howard-Hampton rivalry is different.
Yes, sir.
This is a true, don't matter what the sport, football, basketball, tiddlywinks. Down and dirty, we're going to fight each other and get after it. And I don't think I thought last season I gave him the pass that, this is his first season, he don't get it.
He'll get it.
This year, now I still feel like he doesn't get it.
And look here. I've been to Central before, right? I've been to Central in big games where I think 2014, that was almost like the MEAC championship game, right? So I've never been to Central where as soon, not even when you get to the stadium, as soon as you drive down Fayetteville Street, right? And good Lord, that's one side of town that needs some gentrification in the worst way. Listen, you think East Market Street look bad, but I digress. But so once you get into that mix and you feel it, and just getting to the stadium is like it's just navigating, like it's the hardest thing in the world is to get to the gate, and you packed in. There is no track, so the stadium is literally about 5. The stands about 5 feet from the sideline. The people in the front row can probably reach down and touch an A&T football player on the helmet. That's how close you are, right? It got so hot, right? Because when the band got there for halftime, everybody's bunched up together. It was just so much humidity. It was obviously the electricity from the bands and the smoke from the grills. It was sensory overload, and I'm telling you, there's no way you can prepare for that. And Coach Brown, why you know why he was so quiet when the camera panned on him? I think he was just overwhelmed. I honestly think because he kept looking up at the crowd. He kept hearing the music. And he was like, man, is it gonna be like this all the time? Are they gonna cut the radio off? And it's like, I think he was overwhelmed more than anybody in the stadium. That's how I felt.
And what you know what's interesting? I don't know if y'all went back and watched the broadcast, but Jay and Tiffany kept bringing it up like Coach Brown I don't think Coach Brown got the seriousness of this rivalry.
You can see in his face.
And it's one thing for us to get that, but when the announcers are saying it,
yeah,
that tells you something that it was a long game to watch. Like literally, I turned it off probably beginning of the fourth quarter, probably midway through the fourth quarter, because it was just it reminded me of the 77-7 game, the Bethune.
Yeah. And look. If I was not stuck in that damn sideline next to Doug Brown, I would attack. If this was PlayStation, I'm tapping off in like the first quarter. I'm resetting that game. This ain't no way I'm staying for the whole 4 quarters. I was stuck and I had to endure it. And I'm talking about it was pretty much at the end of the second quarter. It was a party nonstop for everybody in
yeah.
So we were at their celebration for the next 2 hours. And if you know how uncouth Central alumni are, that's not a celebration you want to be a part of. I promise you. So well, go ahead.
It was just it was depressing, and today it's a lot of, I don't want to say point fingers, but it's a watershed moment. We're trying to figure out where do we go from here. Who's at fault? What's our next steps? And I'm just like, I'm just tossing my hands up because I got nothing. Normally I have a comment or something.
Yeah.
This time I got nothing.
All right, so this is your last question. I'm gonna let you go. I know you guys got stuff going on in the background, but let me ask you this, Brandon. And thank you so much for coming out for the show. Let me ask you this. So as you start to, I guess, debrief and analyze what went wrong, how far up the totem pole are you willing to look? Because I had a couple phone calls. I talked to 3 A&T Hall of Famers today. I talked to 3. Understand this. I talked to 3 A&T Hall of Famers today, right? Extensive phone call conversations, right? And everybody was kind of going different directions. So I want to ask you, you got your own perspective. How far up the totem pole are you willing to go to look for answers personally?
At first I was like, man, this is on the coach, until you made your tweet. And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you got to go all the way up to the top, the chancellor. This game is on the back of the chancellor because this is just not one decision. This is a multitude of decisions over time. And I understand a lot of the decisions that were made, and I necessarily don't disagree with them.
Right.
But this is the growing pains. This is the growth we got to go through. If this is the growing pains that we jump so quickly and we rebuild it from scratch all the way from the foundation, we got to suffer through this and everything. And for me, I came into A&T in 2004. So okay. I lived through the 27 game losing streak. So the
dark days. So you are a child of the dark days.
Yeah. So
you like Bane and Batman. You were born in the darkness.
so that's why I said. That's why I could live through this. I was like, y'all don't understand.
Yeah.
We've been through some bad times. So like, So we just gotta. We all as a collective, and I mean everybody from top down, sit together and really try to figure out what is the end goal. That's my thought process now.
My man, yeah. All right, so we're gonna chew on that. That's gonna be, I guess, the ongoing question we're gonna ask throughout the night. But I'm gonna let you go, Brandon. Thank you so much for checking us out and giving your comments. Very much appreciated. And hopefully next show you won't be a stranger. You jump on again, all right?
All right. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. My man.
Appreciate
Brandon Cyrus. I like that guy, man.
Yeah,
Strong dude, man. So what he was alluding to, let me bring in 94 here. And thanks, 94, for being so patient, man.
Oh, absolutely, gentlemen. How we doing?
Man, so what he was alluding to, I went on Twitter, man. I had like a little 5-part tweet, and I said, this is my own personal belief. I'm not speaking for Craig or Doug, But my feeling was, person who deserves the most blame, I said, if you want to start putting fingers on yesterday's debacle, was our former Chancellor Harold Martin. And the reason I said that is because not so much the outcome of the game or the score or how the team performed, but I thought I think the performance of our team and, and more generally, the state of our football program has been affected by the fracture that currently exists in our fan base. And I truly believe a house divided cannot stand. Even in 0-27, we were united because we all knew we had to get rid of Fobbs, right? And we all knew that we needed to make some crazy changes with our university. There is legitimate people on both sides, how many owls there are, who really firmly have love for A&T, but they are not on the same page on what that vision should be. Some people who love A&T donate gobs of money to A&T and volunteer a lot of time to A&T would be nothing happier than if we went back to the MEAC, a historically Black conference, and reclaimed our roots and rebuilt that conference. We got people like Old School Aggie. I know Old School Aggie on our board. Y'all get on him a lot for always, trying to, find shade with what's going on. That dude is one of the most passionate alums we have. 90 Aggie, who doesn't even really post on Blue Dot Valley no more. She was heartbroken when we left the MEAC. She was heartbroken. Right now, I'm more progressive than probably them in that way. There are other people who say it's time. We outgrew the MEAC. It was time to spread our wings and try to go, to a different playing field, right? I can see the merit in that idea too, but I think most people will agree the methodology that we use to make that move left a lot to be desired and has caused the fracture that we have right now. No one can agree on the vision. If I ask 10 different people what the vision is, I'm gonna get 10 different responses. So 94, how do you feel about, this? Let me ask you a question. What is our direction right now as the athletic department?
I mean, I'm still speechless, just to be frank with you. I'm so torn up. My wife had to take me out of town. We up in the mountains.
Oh man, that's crazy.
We up in the mountains right now. My wife had to take me out of town.
And you live in the Raleigh.
I live in
Raleigh.
So I had to deal with them buzzards.
So you go to the grocery store, you gonna see it. You gonna see the flags and the 66. Oh man, I feel for you.
Samaj, I'm gonna just be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. So I am one of those that is in the camp that, I mean, you have to move forward. I mean, if you stand in the place, you're moving backwards. That being said, I still, have a longing, for our history and our culture and what has made A&T. Here's what I do know. For us to dig out of this mess, we as alumni are going to have to start walking and stop talking. We're going to have to contribute.
Okay, can I slow you down real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a good point. You say we as alumni have to start walking, and in the sense you're saying we got to do more, right? But my pushback to that is we don't even know what to do. We have not seen the this much talked about capital giving campaign that was supposed to be unveiled in February of last year that got pushed back to February of this year, which is still tentative, and we don't know the status of that, right? So literally we got people, and Craig will give a report, the AAF has never donated more money, right? The AAF has never done more. So it's not level. So it's not like they're on the sidelines, right?
So I'm not even looking at the big picture right now. I'm just going to go ahead and put myself out there.
Yeah.
We're going to have to reset. We're going to have to hit the reset button on our football situation.
You said reset button?
Yeah. we're gonna have to find the money some way to correct this. And I hate to say it because I think Coach Brown, his heart is in the right place. I just, it's one of those situations where something might be good to you, but it's not good for you.
You know what I think? You know what I thought too? That's a great point, because I was looking at it, the coaching staff, and then I looked at the roster, and I said, I think our individual parts are greater than the sum. Like if I was a corporate a raider and I went out obtained a company by hostile takeover, if I obtained the A&T football company, I would break it up in small pieces and sell it off. Because I think, a Coach Z would be pretty good somewhere. I don't know if Greensboro, North Carolina, 2024 is the best spot. I think we have good stuff that works. I think Cade Malador would be a pretty good inside linebacker somewhere. I don't know, starting for A&T if that's the right answer for this defense. So it's just like the pieces don't come together right.
I can't deny what you're saying. I mean, here's what I know, and this is specific to last night. I don't fault our players.
They play hard.
I said that our players,
they play hard.
Always give, maximum effort.
Yes.
Yes. I think they do the best that they can do. I don't think we put them in situations to maximize what they're capable of doing. Now, last night, let me just say this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of circumstances and things that have happened. I don't think it was meant for us to be in the CAA this quickly. And I don't think, to your point about our former Chancellor Martin, I don't think he was angling for us to be there at this point in time. But circumstances beyond our control dictated that, we had to hit while the iron was hot. But what happened last night has nothing to do with us being in the CAA and being outfunded.
Exactly.
It does not. And we need to stop that. I've been hearing people talk about, he's, worried about the APR and whatnot. Well, guess what, gentlemen? Everyone has to worry about APR. If you're not graduating your kids, you're going to get hit. So we need to take that, off the table. What happened last night was about the culture.
The culture?
The culture. And Brandon, who was up here earlier, said it best. The team has taken on the identity of our coach. And I understand you can't get too high and you can't get too low.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you can never get high or that you can't hit a low point. Last night was a night where we needed emotion, where we needed some fire. And last week I said we didn't need to play with a sense of panic, but with urgency.
But
there was no urgency.
Hey, Doug, let me ask you this. How can you have urgency, Doug and Craig, both of y'all, tell me, how can you have urgency when your head coach says, oh, this is just one of 11, 12 games on the schedule. And, this is, we're not going to make it too much, too big. We got this one game at a time. Like, I think that's the wrong, Doug, am I wrong? Is that the right tone that you want to give your players before Central Week?
I mean, the comment was made that it was a similar stance and a similar comment that Broadway made when he was at Grambling, right? That he told him that the Bayou Classic was just another game, and that that's how he was going to approach it. And the Grambling fans never truly accepted him after that, right? Like it never really worked out. They never truly accepted him as a fan base. Now we know what he did when he moved on to A&T and was able to, capture that winning Celebration Bowl era in that run. But so you can be a soft-spoken coach like Broadway was at times and still get your message across. But when he got angry and when he went after something or someone, you knew that he was upset and it impacted his football team and his staff. So it can be done that way, but there's not too many Broadways walking around out there, right? Hall of Fame coaches like that. So 94 said it, man. You got to be able to drop that emotion in a game like this. You got to play off of it. You got to use it to fuel you. And I think we were able to do that in spots, like the opening kickoff. We just weren't able to do it and sustain it, right?
And then as soon as they opened the kickoff, they went back, and I think they scored touchdowns on the next 4 possessions, and they blocked a punt for another touchdown. So they were so locked in that they was like, okay, that's nice, that's cute. Y'all running back to open the kickoff. That's cute, right? But this is about to be a 60-minute fight. Are y'all really ready to roll up your sleeves and engage for 60 minutes? Because we weren't gonna stop after 1 touchdown. Y'all might have stopped, but we ain't want. And that takes me to my next point, Craig. The feeling that I had, the overwhelming emotion that I had leaving that facility yesterday was, for the first time in my life, I was envious of Central. I was envious of what they had. Right? I was like, God dang, they actually got a working play clock. Wow. You know, they got a play clock that works. They actually got a coaching staff that's fiery. Craig, is that if you look at that roster, I thought moving, see, you know, you go to Disney World, they had to say, you know, my wife went to Disney World and all I got was this shirt, right? So we went to the CAA. What the hell do we get from it? Because they stayed in the MEAC. We left them. We left those poor folks behind, right? So how come when I look at their roster, that's not one position group what I would prefer to have theirs. We supposed to be running back you, right? They had the best player on the field. Their running back was the best player on the field.
Well, I can tell you this, that doesn't have anything to do with conference affiliation. That's got to do with staff and your coaching staff and the philosophy that they have. That's where the disconnect is. People are confusing conferences, or using conferences as the baseline about this is what happened last night was about conference play. Doesn't have anything to do with conference affiliation. Conference affiliation doesn't practice fundamentals. They don't practice blocking, tackling. They don't teach assignments. They don't teach you how to get off of blocks. They don't teach you how to block through a play. They don't teach you recognition of down and distance situations if you're a quarterback, knowing where the hot read is. That is done on a day-to-day basis in practice of those teams. That doesn't have anything to do with conference affiliation. Point being, Central and Elon have been trading blows every other year about who wins that game between them. They play Elon every year pretty much like we do. And they're running about 50% against Elon. They went down to Elon last year and blew Elon completely out their own place. And by the same token, Elon came in earlier this year and blew them out of their place down in Durham. So it ain't got crap to do with conference affiliation. This has got to do with X's and O's, okay, and preparation. And I'm going to tell you right now, what I saw last night was the worst prepared football team I have ever seen wearing the blue and gold, unequivocally. And I've been covering A&T football ever since my freshman year at the A&T Register back in 1974. And even before then, I was an avid A&T fan, even in high school. So for over 50 years, I have watched A&T, practically every game that A&T has ever played. And to this day, and I said this to my wife when I got home last night, and I said it to my brother today who called me from Ohio asking me what the hell happened. This was the worst prepared football team I have ever seen in an A&T uniform. And that is simply point blank. That's it. That's all I got to say about it. This team was not prepared. It wasn't prepared mentally. It was not prepared physically. It was not prepared as far as game plan. It was total bust. This ain't on the players, folks.
No.
Because those kids, there's talent on that football team. Those kids can play.
That's
my
point.
No direction. They have no direction.
And that's the point. I want to clear it up. I don't want to be like we don't have talent, because that's the fallback excuse. Oh, and it's my thing too. First of all, when we moved to the CAA, I thought one of the selling points was that it was going to afford us the opportunity to recruit higher caliber players, right? Like we would be able to get players that the Centrals and the MEAC teams of the world won't be able to get. Well, that ain't true, because I looked at that line of scrimmage and they had some big, athletic, well-conditioned, well-coached players at Central.
Who are on track to graduate.
On track to like that's the whole thing. Like you can't do it that way. That's I don't. There are places I want to go, but places I don't want to get to. But some things is this myth that a historically Black college can't compete equally with a non-historically Black college. Okay, I think resources and all that kind of stuff matter, but it's not like you're playing two different games. Okay, football's football. If you're a great football coach, a la Rod Broadway, okay, then you can be successful no matter where you go. And I think Trey Oliver is from that Broadway tree, and he's going to be successful no matter where he goes. If he stays at Central or he leaves, okay? So this whole thing where you have to only go to the CAA to get to, this whole mythical promised land, that was a lie, okay? PJ, I'm about to bring you in real quick. But back to my whole thing about being envious of Central. I was walking back to my car, and the old head from Central, I was just, he was chatting it up with me, give me a hard time. And he said, do y'all have buyer's remorse, right? I was like, you know what? That's a good question. But actually, I didn't buy this, right? This was not something that I made a decision to purchase, right? This was given to me, and I had to accept it, right? And I'm like Craig, like Doug, like U94. I'm always support A&T, right? I'm not always going to agree, obviously, but I want us to win. If I have to be proven wrong in my personal beliefs that so A&T can win, I'll deal with that 100%. I don't care. It's not my ego. I want the school to ultimately be successful, right? But this whole the firing Sam Washington, and still don't got an official answer on how you guys didn't align philosophically, right? Hiring Vincent Brown, which the methodology I agree with. He had a great resume, but if you as a administration, y'all want to make unilateral decisions, don't be surprised when things go south that y'all don't have a coalition of support and people being patient. 94. They didn't ask my opinion on this, and that's why a lot of people are angry. There are a lot of people at that stadium last night in Durham who were angry because they were like, "What? We're okay. If you're gonna make these decisions for us, stick through it, and be there through the tough times." Chancellor Martin, yeah, he aged out, but he tapped out. Martin ain't got to deal with this no more. Deuce Martin got to deal with it now.
I was heartened to see him last night on the sidelines.
Kudos to Deuce.
I was heartened to see that. I was kind of looking at his.
He wasn't happy. He wasn't.
No,
happy.
he wasn't. He wasn't. He wasn't.
And
his nonverbals is what I was trying to say. I was trying to look at his
body language, and because there was a people, anytime you the new sheriff in town, everybody wants to come out and kind of kiss your ring. How you doing, sir? You new sheriff? He wasn't trying to have that. He was not holding court. He would have his arms folded and he was kind of taking it all in, right? And I don't have a bead on his, interest in A&T athletics yet. He could be just a brainiac and all he's worried about is just the engineering part. I don't know, but he looked like he was invested, like he was interested.
And I'm going to say, he has a lot of things on his plate that probably are not athletics, but if he is a brainiac, like you said, what we all have to recognize is that athletics is the front porch of any institution, and football, drives that. The number one revenue sport.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think a lot of people are missing the fact that, if we're not successful on the football field, things are going to go south. And I'm having a hard time. And Craig, I felt everything that you just said. I can take losing.
Yeah.
I can take losing, believe it or not. But what I can't take is ineptitude.
I can take ineptitude, but I can take ineptitude if you run 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction. I'm like, oh, bless your heart. I can't take it where if I don't sense that passion, like if I don't think you care as much as I care, then that's when we got an issue.
And so Samaj, we're saying the same thing. I mean, because let's be honest, there are people in Coach Brown's ear that are trying to, give him guidance about what matters. And again, I understand that. I mean, when you're playing for a conference championship, you got to focus on things. But that game last night could have served as a springboard for what he wants to accomplish.
Could have changed everything. It would given him that thing that he's not been able to obtain, credibility. Right? He hasn't had that signature win since he's gotten here.
Because let's be honest, you drop Central into the CAA right now, they're not going over
500 team. They're gonna be they're gonna beat up on the scrub teams, right? And they're gonna upset somebody.
And we'll be think of it with some of the better ones. I'm not saying they'll beat them.
Yeah.
They would compete. They would be competitive. They would push people. We didn't push. We didn't push.
With their limited
we folded.
Budget,
we folded up. We folded up, and walked away from the challenge. Okay. Central came out red hot, but we had opportunities. Still had opportunities while that game was still within reach, and we just flat missed opportunities with some mind-boggling decisions that I can't explain it. But I'm like you, 94. I can deal with a loss to Central, just like I could deal with a loss to any team that we play.
Yeah.
But what I cannot and will not tolerate is getting boat raced like we were last night. We were boat raced.
Quick. It was over in the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, we were fundamentally out of that game. In 15 minutes, it was over. Let me bring in PJ.
40-12 at halftime?
At halftime. Yes. It could have been worse than that. Let me bring in PJ because I know. Now listen, you're going to break my heart. Hey, PJ, you're going to break my heart. You're the most positive person in Aggie Nation. I know y'all recognize this gentleman. Y'all see him at all the basketball games. Y'all see him at the football games, home and away. He is the number one cheerleader. Not I would say you are the guy who is the true spirit. When you talk about Aggie Spirit, that song Aggie Spirit, he's the embodiment of Aggie Spirit. And if you ain't gonna cheer, he's gonna make you cheer. PJ, did that spirit? I saw you in the stands yesterday. That didn't break your spirit, did it? That didn't break you yesterday, did it?
No, the QB went down and Christian went down or went out.
Okay, so you think it would have been a different story? Yeah.
Right. That would have been a different game if Kevin White was in the game. And Christian, who broke it, I don't know if he pulled up. I couldn't see. I love the environment. I love what Central did. They got paid.
Yeah.
Had people out on the track. I stayed until like the fourth quarter and then enjoyed the tailgate on the lawn.
Yeah.
One thing I say that I say to Aggie Nation, get off the ledge.
Okay.
Their arrival, Central put 60 on us. All my boys, I'm in Durham now. All my boys is hitting me up. Central put 60 on us. They wanted to rub it in.
Yeah.
And they did. And I think that's what got everybody all crazy. Suppose the game was 10-9 and we lost.
I could deal with it.
We probably not having the show tonight. We probably not having the show right.
We've lost to Central before. We've lost to Central before. I could easily deal with that. Because we would have competed. PJ, all due respect, I love you, man, but we did not compete. We did not compete.
Well,
And we're not prepared.
That's it.
Let me say this, and then I'll bounce. We had our hands tied when our quarterback went down. Now Justin went down too, I think.
Yeah,
And
everybody got nicked up.
it
All
was
three
like
of them.
us against Richmond that year when we went up there. You gotta have your. Rumsfeld said, "You go to war with the army you had." We lost some guys in the war, man.
Can
And
I ask you a
so
question? Can I ask you one question, though, PJ?
yeah.
Does any of those quarterbacks play defense for us?
No, but we did
No.
have 3 guys that were out on defense who we've been naming for the last couple of weeks. They were brought in to be difference makers, and you take those guys away, and we're the team that we were last year on defense, in the secondary and up front. You did not have DeAndre Dingle Prince.
Yes.
You're missing Cam. Was it
Coleman?
Coleman?
Maddox.
Maddox. You're
Max.
missing Cam Maddox, and you're missing Ty Williams.
Yeah.
And I mean, those guys are difference makers. You're replacing them with freshmen, and we don't have that depth, right? And we talked about the recruiting class, and yeah, we were able to bring in some really good guys, some talented guys who I think can contribute. Do I think they're ready? Obviously not. They're not out there playing right now. Some of them are, but majority of them are sitting right now. So at some point, you got to give those guys a shot, or you got to do something because we're in this position now. I mean, it's desperation time. You got to do whatever you can to win a ball game. But we're missing some guys, and you guys heard me say it before. It's not who you play; it's when you play them. And if you don't have those guys available, and Craig, we've said it too, your best ability is availability. And those guys weren't there last night when we needed them most. And then to lose Kenji. I mean, we know what we look like with him, and we know what we look like without him.
I think he came back a little too soon. I don't think.
Oh, he did.
They have
hamstring. It's not a week. It's not a 2-week injury. That thing's gonna linger, and it doesn't take much if you give him maximum effort to reactivate it. So he did. I commend him on his effort on coming out there, and with a bum hamstring, he was able to kind of rattle off that run. So
he broke one, and got caught, which I can't blame him for his heart. But let me say this to the nation.
PJ.
They're MEACers, I mean, we're going to face some tough teams now. Well, we always everybody's better with the portal. Delaware State is better. Elon. So I would say to Aggie Nation, wait until the season, see where we end up. This was a game. It's non-conference. It's a rival. And again, Central put 60 on us. It was crazy. But it's non-conference. What will we do? Can we get our people healthy and then do a showing? I think it's unfair. Coach finally is getting his players in on the team. And no one saw this coming. So Central has that thing that I knew that we all know that they have, that little brother vibe, that look, I'm coming.
The chip on the shoulder.
Right. And it's their Super Bowl. And it is that. And we sort of, what was it? Broadway said that we don't like Central, but they hate us. That kind of thing. So it's PJ, that vibe that we forget. And I think that Coach may not have it. But hey, I thought that if we had our weapons, it'd have been a different game. And that's where I'm at. Now, as far as the administration direction.
Yeah.
We could always pivot. Fam, you left the MEAC. The MEAC was, not to get on here and talk about the MEAC.
Right.
South Carolina State was down to like 900 students, man.
Yeah.
And it was some things that institutionally that was in the way of quite a few things. Bethune left the MEAC.
Yeah.
Hampton left the MEAC. So, now as far as it being pulled over our eyes, that's another thing. We can go there. But looking back on getting in between the lines, I think Coach is a good coach. I think Coach made changes based on what he saw last year. I think we are a better club. I I don't know who played in the third quarter because I had to pull up the roster sheet just to see the numbers then. Everybody got something to eat, some of that food yesterday. And I think we'll be a better team. It's on to South Carolina State.
PJ,
it's going to be the same thing.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this,
yeah.
PJ. Are we a better football program now than when we lost the last game of the season to Gardner-Webb when Sam Washington was coaching? And when we lost that de facto Big South playoff game, are we a better football program? That team program now than we were then.
I think we're in the same spot.
So
I don't think we're bad. I don't think we're bad. Now, showing what we did yesterday, of course, you know, that'll be a point against me.
Yeah.
But against that first half of Wake Forest, against how we came back against Winston, I think we are still learning the schemes of something. Something's not there. Don't get me wrong. You know, we're not rolling like we used to roll. But the way that I look at it is that coach has to get a better understanding of this rivalry for next year and look at South Carolina State in a similar light. Look at all MEAC schools in a similar light. And then look at the PWIs in a similar light, because they may not like us for a different reason. And they're coming to eat our lunch. We're in this pocket now that is A&T versus everybody. And here we are. And I think next weekend we'll have a better showing in South Carolina. And I think I'm going down.
You gonna go down, PJ, to Orangeburg? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I might try to make it. I gotta move some things around, but if you're gonna make the effort, I might try to join you down there. Hey, so lastly, so can I interpret that as a vote of confidence? One person, you have faith in Coach Brown and his ability to turn this thing around? You personally?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I think we need to get off the ledge.
Okay.
Believe me, in this city, me rocking gear, it's gonna be crazy all next week.
That's tough, man.
I live in Durham, so
hey,
it's gonna
PJ,
be crazy.
You see my shirt? We used to tough times, right?
I see it. I see your shirt.
So that's kind of our DNA, man. So you be all right. You be all right, man.
Yo,
I thought
like
I had
George
it bad.
said, we're gonna put 60 on them. Central is like that. There we are. But my thing is that let's look at the whole season. Let's see how it plays out. Now, one thing that I saw, and I don't know if it's coaching or what, or confidence, in that we're muffing some kickoffs, even though we took one to the house.
Again. Like this
you
is
know how
ongoing thing. Yeah.
Right. And I remember those times when we had problems with punt returns and that kind of thing. So we got to coach up some guys, man. We really got to coach them up. We got talent, and I'm really not worried about it, even though I hate this loss and I got to hear it all week and all year. But that's where I'm at. And I'll yield to someone else now.
Oh, I appreciate you, PJ. Thank you so much for coming on the show and supporting the
Aggie Pride, y'all.
years. Aggie Pride, my brother.
Craig and Doug. Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Yeah. I love seeing PJ, man. Hey, PJ, you gonna see him at the basketball game. He's gonna make sure that you're gonna get pumped up. He's gonna call you out if you're not cheering. I love that brother. Doug, so you know, respond to what PJ said, because he had a little bit of he's kind of the voice of reason, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he had some good points, man. You know, we said it's about the X's and O's, but I promise you, it's just as much about the Joes from time to time.
Yeah.
And we, you know, hopefully we can get healthy and regroup. You know, get to the bye week and you know, try to figure some things out. You know, it's a long season. By no means is our season over. All of our goals are still in front of us, right? But we got to figure out a way to muster up some wins. We got to figure out a way to play a complete game. The effort is there, but like you said, guys, we've just got to find a way to get it done, and we haven't been able to do that on a consistent level. So everybody's got to dig deep. I don't believe in saying, hey, it was all on the coaches. No, it's on the players too, right? There's some things out there that we can do better as players. yeah, the effort was good, but you know, I look at all the small things. I look at how you take the field. You know, when we have some success, how do you handle it? You know, you ran a touchdown back. Are we celebrating with our teammates, right? We chirping at fans, right? There's little things you can do, and we're learning those things. You still got to learn those things, regardless of who the coach is, right? Right now we're in a spot. We got a young roster, and some new guys. So all of this is new. We talked about the fact that our team hadn't been down there since 2018 and experienced that atmosphere on the road versus being at home. It's different, and so hopefully we were able to draw from it. Yeah, you're right, John Mark. South Carolina State's they got a big line. They're gonna be big and nasty too, and they got to really run.
It ain't getting no easier, huh? Good Lord.
It ain't getting no easier this week. And Berry, just like they said, he wants to get a win against the Aggies too. So we're going to have to do a lot of growing up. Hopefully we can get healthy and get some guys back out there. But, you know, long term, ultimately, hopefully this will be some things that we can build off of, and our kids will learn and have some experiences. They'll make them better football players. So tough, man.
So let me, we're going to be on for a few more minutes. So I put the link back in the chat. I want everybody to get a chance to get off these chest because, you know, there's some strong emotions. And, you know, kind of, I think sometimes the further you get away from those type of bad losses, the more you kind of come off the ledge like PJ was asking for. Sometimes it just festers. You keep thinking, you even get madder, you know, so you can go different directions with it. Personally, I'm more of I'm still reassessing things and trying to figure out my true emotions. I don't want to be a prisoner of the emotion and just say something just, you know, that I regret. But I do think we have some serious questions that we need to acknowledge. And to Craig, I'm not going to discredit what you say. We did not look prepared. I think the players, they played with energy, right? But you know, I felt like they were. I think as a team, you know, this goes on the coach. We did not have an answer to adversity. Like there was, you know, if we were like a front runner, we came out there and blitzed them and went up 14-0. I think we might have been better, but as soon as we missed that extra point, and then on the very next drive, they went down the field like a knife through butter and ended up taking the lead. I think we were like,
well, it didn't have to have 45 yards and penalties on that drive either. That didn't.
So I'm gonna give y'all a sneak preview. So, you know, we do our little these 3 plays. So we're not doing that tonight, but on Wednesday, one of those 3 plays is going to be that 4th and 5. Where we almost get off the field. So we go down, we score a touchdown, we're up 6-0. We almost get off the field on 4th and 5 or 4th and 6. And then my man Hardy power drives the quarterback for Central, you know, 10 seconds after the throw. So, and that's gave them a new life, and all they needed was another play, and they scored like 2 plays later. So that wasn't great disciplined football. That was kind of that Sam Washington stuff that you talk about. So I'm seeing that still. Dougie, I don't understand special teams. You know, talking about you need to coach some of the players, though. You might need to coach some of the coaches up on special teams. You know, we had an issue last year with punts getting blocked, right? And we still having some. We had a punt get blocked and an extra point get blocked. We still don't seem to understand how to catch a kickoff consistently. So I think we still got some issues we got to work out special teams wise. But you know, we could be here 3 o'clock in the morning if you want to point the finger. And Craig, you know,
yeah,
I do feel for Coach Brown in this regard. And this is going to be, I'm going to take this to a different step. And so I'm going to go above Coach Brown. I'm going to go to the administration. And I do want to put some of my personal blame about all this on our athletic director, you know, and you guys. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for Doug or Craig, but Coach Brown, it seems like he's a man without a country. Like no one is advocating, you know, for him. I don't know how much support he has in all this, right? I think our leadership has been very Milquetoast, very quiet. They are allowing narratives to fester. I got pulled to the side 10 times during the game by people airing grievances about how bad morale is and this and that. And I'm like, all right, let me focus on the game. I'll deal with that next week, right? So everybody seems to kind of be wanting to point the finger, and I think there's a leadership vacuum for whatever reason, right? And it seems to me that's a perfect storm for a lot of this too. And I think if we had a stronger top guy in the athletic department, I think we might have a little more cover fire for Coach Brown. And because ain't nobody called me this morning saying, look here, Thriller, before you start going on Coach Brown, understand this. Like, I got calls from everybody. Ain't nobody behind the scenes looking out for Coach Brown. So I don't know if he has people in that foxhole with him who going to fight that fight for him. And that's a tough deal. When you're an outsider, when you already are kind of brought in under a pretense of a popular or whatever controversial head coach in Sam Washington, you're brought here from supposedly superior CAA land to fix this mess. And things go south, and then your first of all, the man who hired you, Chancellor Martin, he's out there, right? He resigned a year later after bringing you into this mess. And
retired.
Excuse me, not resigned, retired. Excuse me.
Retired.
And then Earl Hilton, he was demonstrative during the camera moments during the game, but that was like the most I've seen him probably in 12 months. Okay, honestly, as far as being around, in the public sphere. So I think we can all ask for more in everything. We're gonna look at the football programs for more. I'm looking at the top. I want more from that level too. Am I out of line saying that, Doug?
Are you out of line? I mean, nothing you say is out of line for your platform and your
no. I mean, no. Give me your
comments. I think anytime it's easy to overreact. It's easy to have an opinion this early, and I know we're sitting not even 24 hours out from the conclusion of the game. So I haven't even had a chance to watch the complete film, which is rare because typically I'm watching the film the night of the game. I couldn't even turn it on last night to watch it again. Couldn't stomach it. I'm not feeling great, guys. I don't know if it's the bird flu or being down there amongst
the bird flu for real.
Yeah, man, from being out there. But this was a tough one. So there's a lot of questions to be asked, and everybody wants to know what's our next step. I think the best thing to do is take a deep breath and kind of reevaluate things throughout the week. Right, the more information will come out. I'm really interested to see what Coach Brown has to say at his press conference. He may comment on and provide some information that we weren't privy to prior to the game or even at this point. So sometimes just waiting it out, giving a little time, letting cooler heads prevail, and then starting to make some decisions or have conversations around decisions as the next steps as a program, because we're still a family, right? There's nothing's going to happen without the people that you're mentioning having conversations, right? And I think that if you know where to look for Earl, he's in the same spot in most of the games, right? So he's not running from this. He'll be
no. Yeah. And I'm not accusing him of doing that. But let me ask you this, Dougie: do you think at this point it would be prudent for Earl to, and not this one of those little Aggie Pridecast deals, should he kind of give a State of the Union address? A real deal to where you say this is the state of what's going on. I hear your concerns with my football coach. I do feel like there needs to be more transparency, more communication from that position, because there's a void, and I can easily fill that void with my thoughts.
I don't know how productive that would be at this point in the season, right? Like that kind of sounds like some things some other schools were kind of going through down in Tallahassee when your AD is in the forefront and having to make comments or defend certain decisions. Typically, I prefer not to see my AD out in front, because if he's out there having a press conference or making comments, it's because somebody's getting hired or fired, right? Or there's an announcement to make. So, I prefer him doing the work, and whatever that may look like, trying to solve some of the issues that we're having. But no, I think I know for a fact that those, that particular gentleman, our AD Hilton, lives and breathes A&T and has A&T athletics on his mind 24/7.
Definitely, yeah. And
so I guarantee you, he didn't sleep any better than any other Aggie last night, right? So we saw him down there. He was in the mix, and he was more fiery than you typically see him on the sidelines. And he's a guy that, whether it's football, basketball, bowling, when you do see him at the games, he's typically watching, and when things get tense, he's there cheering on the Aggies just as hard as anyone. But yesterday was tough. And I don't think it was easy for any Aggie that was in attendance, let alone any Aggie that has to make decisions in response to things that happened yesterday. So I think you just, from all people's position, especially the AD position, I think you take in the information. I hope the chancellor took in the atmosphere and the information, and then hopefully we'll make decisions that are best for the university. But I don't know that making a change at either of the levels that we're talking about tonight, in the immediate future, are the best steps for the program at this moment. Now, I do believe there'll be a time when the university brass have to sit down and make some tough decisions. That happens every year in Aggie, in all athletics, not just Aggie athletics, but we'll definitely have some decisions to make at the conclusion, or sometime throughout this football season. We'll have some decisions to make about what our future looks like.
Well, here's the problem, 94. When it comes, here's a challenge, I would say, when it comes to that. So, Vincent Brown was hired obviously last January, and I'm looking at his contract now. He basically has a guaranteed contract. Earl Hilton gave him a 6-year deal, and he's making $365,000 a year. So, there's not a lot of wiggle room. Basically, I'm looking at the clauses here. He got more ways that he can get out of the contract without any penalty than we can get out of the contract without a penalty, right? He basically, and this kind of gives you a little idea why he always, harps on my main mission here is to graduate students, because there's like an APR clause in his contract to where, like, if he doesn't maintain a certain APR, he could be let go without penalty. And this thing his contract began on January 1st, 2023, and it ends on December 31st, 2028. Okay. December 31st, 2028. So after this year, you still got 4 more years, right?
Yeah.
So you do the math, 365 times 4, that's like $1,095,000. So it's not so much easy as just having a conversation, having a discussion at the end of the season. You're gonna have to have this, if you want to go that direction. Good Lord, that's not. Let's hope let's pray for the best and hope there's a dramatic turnaround, because facing the idea of this not going well and you're gonna have to pivot with that much amount and time left on the contract, that's rough, man. And that's a hard sell to a fan base who you already saying, well, you need to give us more money because of this NIL stuff. We got to have this new reality of NIL, and we might be trying to, do some building over here across the street. That's tough. So 94, do you see a way out based on his contract?
Again, if we are looking at removing him, it's going to take, a big time donor or us passing around a collection plate, to buy his contract out. But I think that there could be a happy medium if, we have to go a couple more years. But this is going to require Coach Brown to do some inward looking, and I will give him credit that, I think he does look at things, and we can say what we want to, but we know what we were dealing with last year with our offensive coordinator. I mean, he made a change.
Yeah, he did.
But he's gonna have to look at his staff, but he's also gonna have to look at himself.
Mm-hmm.
He needs somebody with some head coaching experience, and that's been going through the chat, and I've been thinking about that myself. He needs somebody who has been a head coach before to be a Coach Brown whisperer in his ear. I mean, I know that he is in that Mike London tree, but I could just kind of look at myself, as a principal. I mean, I didn't hesitate to hire people who have been principals before because it gave me perspectives and things that, helped me to shore up areas where I was not as strong. He needs to have somebody on his team that has been in his place.
I was shocked when we interviewed Coach Jay-Z, and he told me that Coach Brown, had the confidence to, just hand over everything to him and let him run his show, with that much autonomy,
Well, think about it. They've got history. I mean, and so Coach Z is that person on his staff that he trusts. So that's why that happened.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying this the relatively experience of that history. It wasn't, they had, still was like I was shocked. I thought when we brought in the defensive coordinator from William and Mary, that we were bringing in the defense coordinator from William and Mary, right? I thought that was going to be the one thing where he kind of put his hand on the weight to make sure it was straight. I didn't think he was going to delegate that, which I don't have I got an issue with 66 points, but I think I felt very good about our defense after that Wake Forest game. I felt, I had started having a little bit of trepidation after Winston-Salem State when them boys was going through us, and then I had some real concerns last week at Delaware on 3rd and 22. Okay, that's when I had my Chris Young moment. Like, this might not be something to think about. Okay, it feels like Coach Brown is a delegator, almost maybe to a fault, and maybe we need, at least for the rest of the season, to become a little bit of a micromanager. Because if you was the big time defensive coordinator that we hired, and we was thinking that's going to be one thing we got to worry about, well, damn it, 66 points, we got to worry about it now. That's just my thought. Dougie, jump in, man, because I'm about to start crying. Think about 66 points.
Look, man, I'm like 94, man. 66 points leaves me somewhat speechless. I mean, to score 66, a lot of stuff has to not go your way. We had the block punt, which, you and I talked about that. We just made the change at punter. I don't know that we had enough awareness of the situation that good down in your own territory. Like you said, 94, there's got to be a sense of urgency. And that starts with how you take the field, your alignment, right? You got to have that sense that they may come after this punt, right? That was a big, although the score was already kind of out of hand, those are big momentum swings, big punches to the gut when you get your bone punt block for a score. So those are things and moments in games that you cannot have go against you when the score will be 66-24. So we didn't respond well in those moments. We weren't able to make enough big plays to kind of keep any type of momentum we had. Weren't able to get off the field when we needed to. And then, at some point late in the second half, it just became an onslaught. So, man, still reeling from it. But hopefully the sun will come out tomorrow. I don't know. I got my cup halfway full.
Yeah.
I don't know, Samaj. It's looking real thin in there today, man. It's looking empty.
Craig, is there? I heard what you said in the passion in your voice and how, because we were embarrassed, right? And that was something that's something we don't want to feel, especially at Central. If he had a epiphany, some type of come to Jesus moment, is there a way that he could pivot, you think, Craig, and get this thing maybe back on track or on a better track? Is there a time that he could still do something to right this ship?
Yeah, well, it's always time, but you know, that's a question you'll need to ask him tomorrow.
Yeah.
What is he and you know, it's got to be something besides the usual coach speak answer where we work on that every day and we're thinking about we're looking at this and we're looking at that and we know we have to do, but it's got to be something more than that because uh, I t- I'm gonna be frank because normally I don't get real emotional
I know.
when I'm talking about A&T football. I try to uh, keep my emotions in check.
Yeah.
Um, uh, when it comes to athletics and
Yeah.
because I'm not a person who goes around screaming and hollering for coaches to be, kicked out or whatever. But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the performance I saw last night or lack thereof. We've played much tougher opponents than Central
Yeah.
in the many years we've been playing football. And uh, with maybe only one or two exceptions, I have never ever seen an A&T team just not compete. I've been on I've seen and been on the bad side of losses with our guys, where we just weren't up to the task as far as talent and team wise and that sort of thing. I think the Bethune Cookman game. Bethune Cookman then was like, they were the class of black college football that year.
Yep.
And I mean they beat everybody to death. I could understand that. We were, we were in a situation where we just didn't have the bodies to do anything with that. But what I saw last night, was not that situation.
No.
Uh, it was nowhere near that, and it was once the the momentum of the game switched in that second quarter. It was like we had no clue as to how to even slow it down. I'm not even talking about stopping it because at that point you couldn't stop it. We were not going to win that game at halftime. I knew we were not going to win that game. But what I was hoping for in the second half, that we would make inroads in slowing them down and start making a few plays ourselves. If anything, we got even worse in the second half than we were in the first half. That is what has got me upset. It's the regression. The regression, not the improvement, the regression I saw last night. And I saw the same things. I saw a lot of the same things I saw last year in year one. I saw it personified last night in that ball game last night. And that to me, if you're going to talk about evaluating coaching performances,
Yeah.
regression there is no place for it. You either get better or you don't. And right now we're I'll be perfectly honest. Right now we're not as good as we were this time last year.
No, we're not.
As far as competing, we're not.
That's
Well,
a great
I got a
point.
question. I got a question.
That's a great point, Craig. That's a great point.
So, I mean, the only other thing I can compare this to is kind of when Central was going through their slump, when they first got Trey Oliver, right? He called them he pretty much got them when they were down. Coach Mack had left, and they were rebuilding it. I think about how long it took them to kind of get back on their feet, right? You wore the shirt last show, 99-0. It were a good 2 solid years before they were able to kind of break through. And COVID was a part of that as well. So, being that Trey had 2 years to kind of get the Central program back on track, how long do you think it should take to see the improvement that we're looking for, or at least see a program that's turned around in the right direction? Because I don't know that you can do it in a year and a half. You know, and I think
Well,
that speaks to
I
him
think we,
having that long contract is because I think we knew as a department,
yeah,
hey, this ain't gonna be pretty, right? Like it's gonna take a while to build it the right way. That's just that's a thought process. I don't know that that's
that
what's going on.
Hey,
But
Craig, I'm gonna let you answer that, but I think that is
Yeah.
exactly what the realization was. And like saying, even with the move from the MEAC to the Big South to the CAA, I understood the methodology. It made sense. I'm not saying it didn't make sense. Harold Martin, Earl Hilton, I understand it. It's just the way you executed that and presented it is what caused the I guess the scrutiny and the skepticism on the motives, right? Because if something is that plain, it makes sense. Then why are you gonna do it under the cover of darkness, right? Why are you gonna do it like what was the guy's name? Colin Powell at the UN, right? If you got weapons of mass destruction, you don't have to sell us this bill of goods, right? If we got something that's better for us, then we don't need all this. We're trying to save money on travel. We want more time in the classrooms. So I understand, we need to give this man time because the program that we're trying to build is going to take time. But that wasn't how it was sold to us. It was sold to us that Sam Washington was some incompetent, degenerate loaf, right? And he had to get out of here. And we going to the penthouse, and he can't take us where we want to go, right? So you just smeared his whole legacy and just downgraded everything that him and Coach Broadway and Trey Oliver and Sean Gibbs and Courtney Core, everything they did, you kind of just dismissed that. Oh, that's fine, for the Celebration Bowl, but we're trying to go to the playoffs. We had that attitude, and then. God dang.
I'll say this. Let's not forget that, we got embarrassed in Charlotte before this one. We weren't happy about the way the game went in Charlotte against these guys. And that was a Coach Washington-led team.
All right. So Doug Brown, then what happened after that? We won 7 games in a row, and we was 1 game from going to FCS.
We did not. We went on to lose 3 more games in a row. No, we 2 more games in a row. We went 0-3. 2 more, and then we ran 7 off.
We had a 7-game winning streak. So
against not the CAA, I'll say that first off. The Big South was not the CAA that year. That was a depleted Big South. They had already lost Kennesaw State. Had already lost Monmouth. Okay, so you kind of lost the 2 big dogs from that conference. So that 7-4 year in the Big South, it was us and Gardner Webb, and everybody knew it. You only had to win, I think, 3 or 4 conference games to get in the championship game. So we were able to win those games against opponents that we should beat, and we beat them. All right, we had our 7-game win streak. I'll take 7-game win streak against whatever opponent, whatever conference.
Yes.
But it was not the CAA. I want that to be very clear. It was not against CAA competition. So, and you compare different teams and styles. We were.
It was against.
I argue that Aggie fans were up.
Campbell's in the CAA. We just had a different Campbell team. We had Jacob Fowler on here.
Listen, that was not the same year. I mean, that was not
can
the
I
same
get in
team.
just real quick with that? With that, just real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, because I hear what Doug is saying, but I've been thinking about this. Even referencing back when Monmouth and Kennesaw State were in the conference, we still competed, and I remember that Kennesaw State game vividly. Now we were in there.
It was 14-0, right? Was it 14-0?
13-0. 13-0.
We struggled kicking the ball.
Money Brown missed 2 chip shot field goals that would have changed the whole tenor of the game. And nobody was like, everybody was like, there's no way you're gonna stop this triple option. A&T is gonna get outclassed. We went to Kennesaw State for their homecoming and probably played them better than anybody they played up to the playoffs. But go ahead, 94.
That's true.
No, I was just gonna say that. I mean, let's not, pretend that we didn't have questions or concerns about Coach Washington. I mean, particularly when it came to discipline and things of that nature. But it just gets back to me in terms of what we're looking like on the field and competing. I mean, I just want to see us have that Aggie pride that we boast about so much. And it just seems to me that, something has gotten lost in all of this. Now, again, there are a lot of things that have happened in the past couple of years that have kind of put us there. And I will say again, and Samaj, I hear you say that, this needs to go up to the top, particularly when it talks about conference affiliation. But I really, in my heart of hearts, do not think that the trajectory was for us to be in the CAA at this particular time. But situations occurred with the Big South imploding. We had an opportunity, and we take it, and we go forward. Where I will submit to you though is if we're going to do this, we got to get serious about what we're doing and funding our programs and making sure that we make the decisions that are necessary to guarantee success. And
Hey, Coach,
I don't know if we've done that.
Coach, you want to come on the show? I see you down there. I don't see your face. You want to come on the show? Let me see who this is. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
What's going on, guys?
All right, who's this?
What's going on?
It's the Long Snapper's daddy.
Oh, Coach, the real Coach. How you doing, man? How you doing, man? Hey, we ain't talked to you in a while, man. Good to see you, man.
Just sitting here, man, watch the same stuff you guys watched last night. It's just so far all season, But I mean, go ahead, Samaj.
I don't want you to, get in no trouble or anything. So don't worry. I'm not gonna ask you what the morale is of the players, right? Can you tell me what the morale is of the parents of the players? What because y'all got your own little kind of fraternity. What is that like right now? What is what are the parents feeling?
Well, most of the time we normally talk about all the special team stuff. So
okay.
If there's a mistake to be had there, then we definitely talk about it. Which the missed field goal was an extremely high snap. The freshman did all he could to catch it, and and Andrew actually kicked DJ's hand.
Oh boy.
And, so and on the block punt, if you go back and watch the video, the shield guy, he came up and he changed the blocking coverage. So that was the reason why they ended up blocking the punt. They came straight through the middle, and he changed it from one thing or the other. And we had on the rollout punt.
That was kind of weird. I didn't want to. Go ahead.
That one was tipped, but Nick didn't block that one kid that was rushing towards that rollout side. So, but I mean, we normally talk about those things, but me being a coach, I look at everything. And what I seen last night is I saw a defense that didn't know the players on the other team. Like Markel Quick, he killed high school last year. I knew that kid was about to run a slant on KP, but and number 88 being the best man on the field.
That's a player. That's what I mean. Like, I was envious. Like, how come we ain't got guys like that? I thought the CAA was going to afford us guys like that, but
and I love him to death, but I swear, I think we got some of the slowest linebackers in America.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said it. Let the record show, Samaj Marsh did not say that. All right, but since that's been introduced into the record, let me say this.
And they just for the record, they really, really just got a D-line coach, like I think maybe 3 weeks ago, Coach West. So and that's still building and getting that together. I think it's just going to take some time.
Was that a shocker when Coach Lang left? Was that expected, or did that catch people off guard?
I think it caught them off guard. He went down there to do his own training, but he's also coaching at a high school now.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I follow him on Twitter still.
Yeah. It caught them all off guard, actually, but I think someone in the front maybe even the head coach, they knew it was going to happen, but they just didn't say anything.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So okay. Well, at least there wasn't no, because I was told, everybody has their little conspiracy theories. So, but I was told that it was conspiracy. I'm not gonna put it out there, but it was supposedly a conspiracy on his departure and all that. But nothing crazy. Just personalities and the philosophies more so than anything. But do you feel like everybody from, I guess, even the team standpoint, coaches and players, does everybody still see the path forward? Or have we gone to any finger pointing? Is everybody still kind of circling the wagon and it's us versus them?
those parts, Damien, he doesn't tell me
Yeah.
that much of things, because mainly I want to talk to him about if there's anything that he could do different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
He had overall good snaps. I mean, one of his snaps was like at the kids, mid thighs, but other than that, that's mainly the stuff that I talk about, is him trying to stay positive on the sideline and staying positive in the other kids' ears.
Okay.
Because I mean, he's it's his 4th year, so I would consider him trying to be a leader, So
yeah.
But so those parts he doesn't tell me about.
Okay.
I mean, so he does say the speech is the same all the time, though.
Okay. So, and now, and you know what? And that's that's kind of a little bit of comic relief. People from the fan base question, I guess, the persona that Coach Brown has established at press conferences in front of the media, and some people might question: is he being disingenuous? Is he just giving that little, that coach speech? Does he have sincerity when it comes to this? Hopefully, hopefully the player's not questioning that, but you're hearing that people are kind of getting tired of the same lines.
Yeah, I mean that he does say that it's the same every time. So
okay, maybe I'm gonna switch that up then. I got a question for you and the chat. Everybody here, does he or does he not? Tomorrow at noon at the press conference, does he start the press conference with "It's a good day, great day in Aggie land"? Does he continue it on Monday?
Yes. Yes.
Chat, give me a yes or no, chat. What do y'all think? Because Craig, does he go great a good day in Aggie land, great day in Aggie land tomorrow?
Oh Lord. Probably.
Come on, Craig.
He can't.
I think if the press conference was today, then there's no way he could have done it tomorrow, maybe. But if it was today, no, I would have said, no, we can't do it today, coach. But then tomorrow,
I would stay away. I would if I'm him, I may say that, but I better qualify with an apology for what happened last night, because that was atrocious.
He definitely has to come with his hat in his hand and apologize to the fan base. I think if I'm Earl Hilton,
he's got to own this one. He's got to own this one. He's got to own this one. He's got to own it. He's got to take ownership for what happened out down in Durham. He's got to. I think. Never mind.
No,
we'll talk about it off camera.
Okay.
So Maj, you coach you coach a team, correct? I'm just trying to understand, like, why are our tight end routes so short? I don't quite understand that over the middle drag that's like 2-yard route. I don't get it.
I think the only team I coach currently, I started like this franchise in Madden. I moved to Dallas
Oh
Cowboys
Lord.
to Virginia Beach. No, listen, I'm the Virginia Beach Voyagers, and we kicking butt over here in my franchise. I'm only like year 2029 on Madden. I'm going crazy. So I'm coaching them pretty good. But to answer your question, we have major protection issues with the our line. So I think that Coach Marsh had to truncate a lot of stuff because we don't have the time to get stuff off. I think he's like, run these little drags and whatnot. We don't have a time to do a lot of double moves. But in the second half, it seemed like they got so desperate. I saw Coach Marsh and Coach Fomby talking, and he was like, "Man, just get it off. Just throw. It's like you gotta put pressure on Central's cornerbacks." And Coach Brown at the press conference said that he said we got to take more chances downfield. So I'm not sure what route they're trying to do, but it seems like there was a mandate for Fomby to attack downfield more. And Fomby was like, say less. That's one thing I can do. So he was like, I don't give a damn. You remember that meme, Doug, where Patrick Mahomes came in the league and he was just like leaning sideways. He was like, hell, Tariq Hill's down there somewhere. And so he was just throwing it without looking. That's how Fomby was in that third and fourth quarter. He was just throwing punch down there, hoping somebody came down with it. So I'm not sure if that's sustainable, but yeah, we got a lot of questions on offense, man. 94, do you feel any better about the offense than you do the defense as far as the scheme wise?
Well, when I compare to last year, I mean, schematically, I can see what we are really trying to accomplish and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
One of the things I've been saying all along is that we don't have anybody who can take the top off the defense, though.
Oh man,
yeah, that's true.
No, we don't.
And that impacts a whole lot. It impacts your running game and everything else when you don't have a downfield threat. But in terms of what I'm trying to see us do now, I do question some of the in-game calls that come about, where sometimes you can do more or less. I think back to, I think it was in the second quarter, whatnot. We were in the red zone, just outside the 5, and I mean we're throwing the ball where I would like to think it had gotten 2 or 3 yards to punch it in and maybe make the game a little bit closer, but we're throwing a pass and yeah.
I don't think so. That was Fomby that threw the ball up and they got a couple of interceptions.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I thought that was like freshman mistakes, and then when the freshman got out there and quarterback, I was like, well, damn, he's smarter than Fomby because he threw the ball in the stands. Like, But now, don't get me wrong, Fomby throws a really good deep ball.
He does.
Yeah, he definitely throws it better than White.
KJ, yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
But, hey, I think we saw the full resume of Fomby. We saw the elite arm talent, right? That was kind of his scouting report, and we also saw the questionable decision making because there were times where I'm like, it's only second down. You can't live to fight another day. You don't have to take that shot right there into triple coverage. So that's still a process. I kind of understand now how KJ White won that job, because there were probably a lot of instances in practice where we were like scratching our head with Fomby. I love your arm talent, but you threw the most prettiest spiral to this damn free safety. So that's not helping us out. So we got to get that fixed. And listen, go ahead.
Oh shoot, I forgot what I was.
Well,
I think they're both kind of fragile, right? They get kind of hurt kind of easily because they're not protecting themselves.
KJ is just he's too. I don't care about his height. I care about his weight. KJ has got to gain 20 pounds over the offseason if he's going to be the starting quarterback for this program. He has he does not have a solid. Everybody says he's taller than Khalil Carter. Khalil Carter was a bowling ball, right? I just don't know how sustainable that's going to be because Central went there to body slam him and put their weight on him, and they got him out of the game on the second drive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everybody's going to follow that same script now. He doesn't look like he can take a lick, so we got to figure something out if he's going to be the starter. Doug, go ahead.
The last thing I'll say before I go is, if we think back to last year, right now, Money Brown is the most consistent thing we got on offense. And that ain't gonna win many games, trading touchdowns for threes. I mean, we all know that. So,
and I was gonna ask, hey Doug, what do you think? Our chances. What's the outlook going forward if we don't have Kenji Christian behind center? Because that changes a lot. Though.
Well,
I don't even understand why he came out there last night. He wasn't even 100%.
That dude he went 75%. That was all effort and heart. I give him. I'm glad he came, but God, that was sad to see. Yeah.
Well, we've been running back by committee, so hopefully we're able to get the committee going. And we got some young guys with some talent, but your run game is not just who's getting the ball and who's doing the running. It's a complete effort. So it takes the guys up front, and you got to have some success passing the ball as well to open up some space for those guys. So of course you'll miss Kenji. He's super talented, but you got some young guys that are ready to step in, and they'll get some experience. And every college in America deals with injuries, and unfortunately that's just something that's part of the game. So hopefully he can get back healthy, man. A hammy is something that can nag you throughout the season. So we're happy to have him out there and giving him a good effort. But hindsight, hey, we had some guys that said he was one of the guys that was able to try to give it a go. So
that's the effort and heart. Hey, Coach, so we're gonna let you go. But before I do, make sure you tell your son to keep his head up, and we appreciate his service and sacrifice and everything all the players are doing. We some old men who super vested into this football program, but that's the blood, sweat, and tears that you get. Those players are actually doing, and I know they feel bad too. They had to go through that physically. But I just send our appreciation and our support to them, so they know that if we're griping about the state of Aggie football, does not mean we're griping about them. We still love and appreciate them without a doubt.
Man, I appreciate it, man. We appreciate it, and I will see you guys down in South Carolina at South Carolina State. So,
hey, did y'all get the tailgate thing worked out for Geo? Did they fix that for you? Did y'all get
we all of the parents came together. We ended up having to pay that $1,000 to the AAF.
Okay.
But I mean, it ended up costing us about $1,400 but we still got the same spot.
Good deal.
That I've had, for the last 3 years.
Okay.
So
So we appreciate that.
We worked it out.
Good deal. All right, Coach. We'll catch you. I might see you down in Orangeburg, and we'll catch you next time.
I'll be there.
All right,
Coach.
Hey, PlanoAggie, if you want to come on, I see you down there. If you want to come on the show, let me know. Just turn your camera on, and I'll pull you up here. You can chat with us if you're still live. So let's kind of start wrapping this up. Because I think everybody has been able to decompress and kind of figure out how they feel. I like some of the comments here. I think we've been honest and we've been truthful, and PJ kind of was more optimistic than some people. Doug seems like he's leaning towards glass half full more so than probably me, Craig, in '94. But I went on the record, when we do like our preseason reports and stuff, like training camp reports, fall camp, I said this was a better team, and I said that I was impressed by the additions to this team. I said that Kenji Christian looked like Earl. What did I say? He looked like Eric Dickerson. Right? And I said Fomby was, had great leadership and was great arm. I don't think like I was sold a bill of goods or I've been selling a bill of goods, but I do feel like the questions I had about the defensive line and the size issue was legitimate I was hoping that I was seeing things wrong, but obviously we still are small and we're undersized at the point of attack. Central, look, go back on the replay on ESPNU and look at the first 4 drives, and they just ran up the middle anytime they wanted. You know, they might have did some, play action passes, whatever, just to move the thing. But when they needed 3 yards to get that first down, it was like Delaware on 4th and 2 from the 32. They had no trepidation about going for it because they knew Dave's got to block this one guy and he's going to be on roller skates. I think my biggest issue with Coach Brown, and I guess to extension is Jay-Z, since he's getting the autonomy, I do question the roster construction. I do not understand why we are recruiting these type of athletes if we're going to play them in this form of fashion. Like if we're going to play that, that 3-4 attacking defense, we don't have these war daddies that you need for the 3-4. We don't have that one technique that can take on 2 blocks and not get pushed back to Skateland USA. Okay. And I know this is only year 2, but if you need a certain type of individual to execute your system, we ain't got them yet. And we got some freshmen, but that freshman is hard to relate to a grown man who's 24 years old, all that stuff. So I worry about this, the philosophy we've had with our defensive scheme. I love the hustle of Mac David, Moladar, Terrell Dudley, but good Lord, they all seem undersized, and none of them look like none of them look like they ran track in high school. Let me say that. They like when they get manned up and when they have to sit out and get like a slot receiver or a tight end, it's always a mismatch. I just feel like I don't see help on the way in that regard moving forward. Like from when we go to South Carolina State, what are we going to be able to do if everybody's healthy? What are we going to be able to do differently to change the outcome of the last 2 weeks? Doug, I mean, we still going to get pushed off the ball at the defensive tackle. Am I missing something?
But there's some certain Joes get back on the field, man. I keep going back to personnel, man. I like to see how we look at full strength with Dingle Prince in there. He proved to be a difference maker. I know he's just one guy, but sometimes one guy can help, your whole scheme look a little bit better. Yeah. And when you think about linebacker and some of the playmakers we've had, I think we're really missing 2 guys or 2 styles of play that we had last year. One being Barry Turner. I mean, BJ Turner, he was I think he spoiled us. We saw how many times he was just quick to the ball and looked so much quicker and faster than everybody else we had on the field of defense. Yeah. We're missing his play right now. And Avarion Cole, right?
Oh, Lord. Hey, I would take him getting a 15-yard penalty right now if I could just have him going sideline to sideline. Because you don't miss until you don't know what you had until you miss it. Because good Lord, we ain't got no Avarion Coles on that roster right at this point.
Right, and we'll say this, when we had Barry out there and he was doing his thing, BJ out there and he was doing his thing, we looked one way, and when he was gone, we looked different, right? We weren't the same defensive unit once he went out with an injury. So I think that just an example of, sometimes it's the Joes, man. Sometimes it is the Joes, especially when you're trying to build a team and you don't have the depth yet. When there is a drop off from one guy to the next, it makes it awful tough, man.
So, but Craig, you know what they say about defense in football? One place you don't want to be soft is up the middle, right? So if you look at our defense, right, from the defensive tackle to the inside linebacker to the safety, problem, right? Like you got 3 levels of problems: defensive tackle, inside linebacker, safety. All those are issues for us right now. So you can plug one hole, but you're gonna have 2 more popping out. So that's what gives me like, good Lord, how you solve that?
Well, we've got issues. We have some issues at linebackers because basically, I think you're right. I think Doug hit it on the nose. We got kids who can't get off the blocks at linebacker. Um, they're undersized. They really are undersized, and uh, and they're kids that can play, but when you're 5'9" and maybe 220, and you're being blocked down by guys 6'6" and 310, you're not gonna win that battle. You're just not gonna win it.
Craig, you've lost Jacob Roberts, Taquan King, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then BJ, who was a graduate. That's almost losing a lot of production over the last 2 years in your linebacker room, right?
Yeah.
All those guys can play.
Yeah.
So you lost guys to FCS. That makes a difference. They were all pretty much FBS quality football players in that linebacker.
I can tell you one thing. One thing you're going to have to do. One thing you're going to have to do. Brown will have to do because Brown will have to do. In year 3, assuming something doesn't happen. Well, he is going to have to utilize that portal to take care of those issues. He's got to have he'll have to utilize that portal a hell of a lot more than he did this year. He's going to have to. His curve is not there. He does. Right. He won't have that curve if we continue on this plane for this year, and we go through another 1-win or 2-win or 3-win season. His leash in year 3 is going to get real short. Contract or not, it's going to get real short. So yeah, I don't see another way at this point to rectify some of those situations without using the portal. He's going to have to. He's going to have to. I want to recruit high school kids,
right?
But that takes time and development when you bring in a high school kid because they usually don't start producing until year 2 or year 3. He doesn't have that luxury, not anymore.
And Craig, I hate thrusting the high school kid out there and telling you go figure it out. I love that they are getting a chance to play early, and I know this is the new normal where you got to worry about guys, jumping portal to portal because they're not getting playing time. But good Lord, give me a good year of that meal table and that strength and conditioning program we've been hearing about. I know we got this new nutritionist and all this protein shakes because grown man strength really came into factor yesterday. That was some grown men we were playing against, and we had some guys who were in high school a year or 2 years ago, and that was kind of one of those differences you saw. Let me bring in before we get out here, PlanoAggie. Plano, what's going on?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
My man,
what's up, man?
What's going on?
First of all, let me congratulate you. You are the reigning Blue Death Valley Poster of the Year, right? You are.
Yeah.
You the poster. I'm gonna have to get with you offline. I understand you a shirt or something as a reward because you're the man of the hour. So thank you for the first time coming on our live and joining the show. You are you still in Texas?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you probably didn't get a chance to fly out to Durham yesterday.
No.
Did you watch it on
Good
TV?
for you.
Did you get a chance to watch it on TV?
No. Actually, I did live stats, so I wasn't even able to watch it. But I was just real frustrated. Just seeing how we just did not move the ball well on offense, and we just allowed so much mistakes on defense. I think defense is our biggest problem.
Defense is the issue. Are you personally still a believer in this staff? You believe we still have time to get things turned around, or are you kind of like some people seem to be kind of throwing the towel with Coach Brown?
I still think that we should just give Coach Brown and staff, time enough to see whether or not they can make any kind of progress throughout the season.
Yeah.
Last year, he didn't have as much recruits, or much time to maybe bring in the type of people that he wanted to, and so first year was kind of like a feel out year for me, and for him. But after that first year, I figured, hey, he started making a lot of moves and stuff as far as like getting rid of some of the players that he did not, feel contributed that much the first year. And he made decisions on whether or not he wanted to hit the transfer portal versus bring in some young guys and everything from high school. So he brought in a lot of high schools, and like y'all said, they just not ready. They're just not ready and everything. And so, but he's playing most of the veterans and stuff. And so, therefore, all I want to see is some progression. From start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I only expected us to win maybe 4 games or less this season and
I'll
everything.
take 4 right now.
But
yeah. I'll take 4 now.
Yeah. It's gonna be real tough, man, because I was counting on a lot of these out of conference games, to add up to be 4, and we haven't won one CAA game yet, and we're gonna go into year 2 and maybe not win a single game. That's really tough to swallow. So what I'd like to see on the field is, based on all the pressure now from the fans and everything, can we show some kind of progress between now and the end? And then after the season, I would kind of like say, hey, what is Coach Brown going to do to maybe fix those problems? Because we cannot go into year 3 and still be 1-10 or 1-11.
It's crazy. Hey, so listen, I know all the other stuff that we said while we was moving on from Sam Washington. His last year he was 7-4. So we trading 7-4 for 1-10 and 1-10 or 2-10. Well, it's oh good Lord, it's a hard way to. I can't understand that. Hey, let me ask you this. We about to get off the show. It's been over 2 hours. I'm glad everybody participating tonight. Let me ask you this, PlanoAggie, and I want you guys in the chat to give me your opinion. I'm going to the press conference tomorrow at noon. What is one question you would like me to ask Coach Brown at that press conference?
Oh, that's a good question. Man, I guess the biggest thing that for me that's holding us back from I guess really being a better team, I still got issues with the contract, but that's probably not a question that we can ask, at the press conference.
Yeah. Listen, man. I'm pretty good with my hands. I'm kind of like James Brown. I don't know karate, but I know karate. But Coach Brown intimidates me, and I gotta sit in front of him, so I don't want to ask him anything crazy. He might flip on me, man. So
no.
I can't ask about his contract.
No, absolutely. That's out. That's out.
Yeah.
But I guess I had really thought that we were actually going to go to something like like a 4-3 defense or so because of our size, and I thought he had committed to that sometime over the summer or so. Right. But then I learned that we're going to do 3-4 defense, and to me, I just feel like we're just too small and not athletic enough to actually play a 3-4. Yeah. And I guess I would just say, hey, would 4-3 be or another type of defense that basically put more people on up front on the line. Would that be possible to be our main defense? Because we are lacking lots of pressure and everything up front. And when I looked at the stats and everything, because I'm a stats guy, and I see that like last year we had BJ Turner. I mean, he was balling out and doing crazy and making a lot of plays, tackles for us. And so when I look at the stats, I don't see that happening with many of our linebackers and everything. And then when I looked at Central game, I saw that most of their guys only had about like 5 tackles or something like that, but it was spread out equally and everything. And here we go, we have like one linebacker that might have like 7 tackles or whatever, and then the rest they only have 1.
You know what?
I mean, that is crazy.
You know what that shows is that the other team is dictating to us, right? Instead of us attacking, they're putting us in positions where only one guy is able to make a tackle because everybody else is getting ran away from or blocked. That's why one like a Mac David will come up and have 13 tackles because probably his counterpart came out there is probably on his back getting bulldozed by a offensive tackle or the guard or somebody. So that's what that means usually.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying if I'm seeing that, they have to see that, and it's like, why are we not trying to make some changes or progressions to where that doesn't occur? We got to get some more gang tackling and more contribution from other people, not just like one linebacker or so that's got double-digit tackles or something like that. So I would be concerned about. I would have a question on can we change that?
Yeah, David,
is he willing to maybe switch up something like that?
David Mack kind of mirrored you said, ask Coach Brown, does he plan on changing the defensive schemes? Doesn't seem to be working. Same thing you saying, giving up big plays in the run and passing game and can't cover crossing routes. And ain't that the damn truth? Yeah. So let's go ahead, guys. Let's we can probably be 5 more hours. I think this is a good opportunity for everybody to get stuff off their chest. Let's put a bow on this, and then we'll get a good night's sleep, and we'll pick this up on Wednesday. We'll do it Inside the Valley. We have our highlights and all that stuff and preview. Unfortunately we'll take a little bit of a recap of this fiasco, the disaster in Durham, and then we'll also look forward to South Carolina State. But 94, and let's just go around 94. Give me a final thought, and then we'll go to Craig.
It was terrible, but we've seen dark days, and we can get through it. But we've got to have some real truth telling, and we've got to really look inwardly at where we are right now. And but we're at a crossroads. I mean, make no mistake about it, we are.
You know what? I said, I'm going to give it to you, Craig, but I was talking to somebody on the sideline, and I said, it feels like with all this, the fractured fan base and people wondering what's our athletic department identity, are we trying to remove ourselves from our HBCU roots, all this stuff. I said it feels almost like we're in a fight for the soul of our university, right? And I think that battle, that fight is going to be determined by how we as a alumni, as a fan base can rally together, almost like the movie, the Avengers. At some point we got to come back together, right? Aggie's, symbol, because we're all different. We're all over the place, right? And nobody's kind of happy right now. Everybody has questions. The more we can solve some of these questions, not just win football games, but we got, like I said, we got to have an idea of a direction so we can move in lockstep and we can donate in lockstep. Got to get that communications improved. Got to get that capital giving campaign introduced and running so we can get some of the stuff to compete in the CAA. I need my leadership to be a little more transparent. I like to see my leadership a little more visible. I like seeing the passion from Earl Hilton on camera at that football game. I like to see that more just around town, just always. That's just me. Craig, take us home, man. Give me your whatever's on your chest, in your heart.
Well, my thing is that I want to see us start to compete again. I think we the first couple games this season we were competing, and these last 2 weeks we haven't and we haven't done the things that we should be doing to represent ourselves the way we should be represented. I'm gonna try my best to put this game behind me. I hope, and it's going to be tough to do that with central friends and family all over the place. But this too will pass in due course. It'll be brought up it'll be brought up during the holidays around Thanksgiving and Christmas when everybody's fraternizing and whatnot. But my biggest thing is I got to see progression, and I really have got to see some progression over these last 8 games. Coach is saying, well, this is just another game. We got 8 more after this. Well, you're at that 8. Now starts the final 8, and
the clock is ticking.
Compete.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that the clock is ticking. It's not. It's less about wins and losses, but how we compete. Because in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, we've got Hampton coming in here. You're going to have 25 to 30,000 people in that stadium, and we see a repeat of what we saw last night on October the 19th. If there's a repeat of that,
you've lost Aggie Nation.
It's over. I'll be point blank. It's over. There'll be no way to recoup it. So we've got to be able to compete. We can't just go out there and be down 4 or 5 touchdowns at halftime and get mollywopped like we did last night. We can't do it.
What worries me though is like this game was played in a beautiful September night. Big game. Everybody was looking forward to it. ESPNU, so it had all the pomp and circumstance. What about late in the year when it's cold and we go up to Villanova and we go up to Richmond and we only got like 2 wins? Like, are we gonna have that same? If we didn't have effort for this game, not effort. We didn't have just, I guess, focus and fight and all that stuff for 4 quarters. And for this one, we couldn't get ready for this one. I just say late in the season it might really get ugly because
you got to go to Townsend for their homecoming.
And kids are
gamble here.
Yeah, kids are human. They don't like getting beat up, and they gonna start reading the Twitter, and Instagram, and this. It's just tough, man. So I just hope we can figure something. Let's just start like this. Let's just figure something out this week. We missed the opportunity to get in that program to find and win yesterday. We can still get a big victory this upcoming week, and that could give us a little bit of momentum to get that conference play. And I think we got a bye week coming up before homecoming, so we still get a chance to get healthy maybe for the second half of the season. But let's end it right there. Before I leave, let me give a shout out to all the great support staff that we encountered in Durham. I joke about the campus, but they had some great people. We got credentials for me, Doug, and Michael Simmons, and they were professional, first class. That's a tough environment to stage a game because it's so packed, right? And you got people trying to sneak in and jump the line, but all the security and the event staff were like top notch. So we joke about about our brethren in Durham, Central, but they did a first-class job, and salute to them. They were the punching bag for a long time, and now, like I say, it's not no fun when the Rabbits got the gun. They got the gun for the time being, but we'll get it back. But until then, for PlanoAggie, Mr. The defending BDF Poster of the Year, and I got the good Duke 94, of course, the president, Craig Turner. I am Samaj Marsh. It's been a very necessary, important episode of Blue Death After Dark. We'll be back on Wednesday night. But thanks for coming out and going through this little therapy session with us. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.